Okay, so hello everyone. Despite having an assignment already and some posts that I made on Edmodo, this will be our first time to have an actual lecture. And for that, we will have an introduction first of what is applications development and emerging technologies class is all about. Applications Development and Emerging Technologies, or CCC181, is actually about the development of applications using web, mobile, and emerging technologies, with emphasis on requirements management, interface design, usability testing, deployment, and including ethical and legal considerations. So, based on this definition, you know where this is going. By the end of the semester, you are supposed to be able to design an interface, run a usability testing, probably deploy a prototype of whatever it is that you are trying to develop using emerging technologies, and also including ethical and legal considerations. But first, what is emerging technology? Now, emerging technology, according to businessdictionary.com, defines the concept as a new technology and that is currently being developed or will be developed within the next 5 to 10 years. And finally, this term applies to technologies that are currently creating or will create lasting economic or social effects. An emerging technology can be defined by 5 attributes. First is radical novelty. What does that mean? It means that a technology can become an emerging technology if it is something new and original, or it was not done before. It also has a fast growth, which means it will have support, patrons, users in less than 10 years. It must also have coherence, something logical or consistent, and something that makes sense as a whole. And then it has a prominent impact, conspicuous, particularly noticeable effects on the society and the economy. And of course, it has some uncertainty and ambiguity. So this is weird because an emerging technology could launch at full scale or it could fail big time. So there's some uncertainty and ambiguity, so it can be referred to as an emerging technology. Before we look at the different emerging technologies that we have at this current time, let's try to look at some of the emerging technologies that were developed in the last 100 years. I think you had this one as an assignment, and I was particularly amazed that many of you answered way beyond 100 years, which was not what I was asking for. So let us try to look into the different emerging technologies 100 years ago and how they have influenced our technologies and emerging ones today. By this time, the computer was already quote-unquote invented by Charles Babbage in 1822. It was a massive difference engine that had about 25,000 parts, weighed around 15 pounds, and was 8 feet tall. Charles was known as the father of the computer. It was because of his machine had an input, a way of feeding numbers, a memory, something to store these numbers while complex calculations were taking place, a processor, the number cruncher that carried out the calculations, and of course an output, which is a printing mechanism. The same basic components shared by all modern computers today. But during his lifetime, Babbage never completed a single one of the hugely ambitious machines that he tried to build. That's why I say quote-unquote invented by Charles Babbage. It was when his notebooks were rediscovered in the 1930s by computer scientists finally appreciated the brilliance of his ideas. Unfortunately, by then, most of these ideas had already been reinvented by others. Other things that were invented before the 1900s were the binary number system, And then we also have the steam engine and the battery. Also, the electric generator by Michael Faraday, 1820, and the modern photograph by Joseph Nepci in 1827. So it's this big. During this time also, the fire extinguisher was invented in 1860, and the modern QWERTY typewriter by Christopher Latham Scholes, 1868. By the way, do you know why it's called a QWERTY typewriter? So that would be your assignment. Try to read about it. By this time also, the phonograph was invented by Thomas Edison. And the incandescent lamp by Edison also, which is 1880. And the alternating current, or AC, electric induction motor by Nikola Tesla by 1888. Okay, so let's try to look into the 1900s. The 1901 electric vacuum cleaner. So during this time, the electric vacuum cleaner was invented. So do you think this emerging technology by this time has an influence as what we have right now? I believe so. We also have the airplane by 1903, which has a huge impact to modern airplanes right now. Maybe if it wasn't for them, we would still be using airships as a mode of transport. By 1906, the radio. Now you may be wondering, the radio was invented in the 1900s. Actually, the radio was invented during the mid-1890s, but on December 23 of the 1900s, the Canadian inventor Reginald A. Fessenden became the first person to send audio by means of electromagnetic waves, successfully transmitting over a distance of about 1.6 kilometers, and 6 years later, on Christmas Eve, he became the first person to make a public radio broadcast. So that's why the radio is included here. Basically, this is radio broadcast. So 1906. 1912 is the television. So this is one of most of you answered about the emerging technologies in the last 100 years. John Baird develops mechanical television, which became widely available by 1927. So majority of your answers sa inyong assignment was this, followed by the 3D printer, and then digital camera, mobile phones, and etc. By 1921, the polygraph was invented, or famously known as a lie detector. By 1935, radar was invented. So I think this one has a great impact on our modern technology. Radar, or radio detection and ranging, was first demonstrated by Robert Watson Watt. And then the microwave oven by 1947. It was named as Radarange. Although the microwave was patented on 1945 by Percy LeBaron Spencer, it was accidentally discovered that microwaves would also heat food. By 1953, the WD-40 was invented. Do you know what WD-40 stands for? So that's another assignment. By 1960, the laser was also invented. Lasers, or light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation, was patented by Arthur Schwallow and Charles Towns. They developed their laser while working at Bell Labs in 1958. During the 1960s, LED was also invented. The LED, 1962, the hologram, 1963, the Pampers disposable diapers, 1965, and the first internet message was a packet switch delivered to UCLA from BBN Corp. So it was in 1969. The first two machines of ARPANET were connected at UCLA. During the 1972, the CD was invented, or the compact disc. By the 1973, the first truly mobile phone was invented. The one pictured was the first mobile phone, truly mobile phone. It was made by Motorola on April 3, 1973, by Martin Cooper. So that guy pictured is Martin Cooper. Made the first mobile telephone call from handheld subscriber equipment, placing a call to Dr. Joel Engel of Bell Labs, which is actually his rival. By 1979, Japan launched the first commercially available automated cellular network. It was, however, only available in cars. We actually call this technology as 1G. Now, speaking of mobile phones, let's try to look at the different best-selling phones throughout history. By 1984, the first Macintosh personal computer was introduced. It was on January 24 that Apple Computer Incorporated unveiled its Macintosh personal computer. It included sound sampling technology that could play recorded sounds. By 1986, South Carolina-based 3D Systems introduced the first commercially available 3D printer. Okay, so as you can see here, the 3D printer was already available since 1986. By 1985, Tom Zimmerman, Chuck Blanchard, Young Harville, and Steve Bryson joined Jaron Lanier at his recently formed company VPL Research and pioneered virtual reality. So meaning virtual reality was already emerging since 1985. But the firm filed for bankruptcy in 1990 and all its patents were sold to Sun Microsystems. By 1989, that phone by Motorola hits the shelves. By 1993, it was the first time that the Intel introduced its Pentium processor. And then by 1997, the first digital video disc or DVD players came on the market. By 1999, two variants were adopted for the 1997 IEEE 802.11 standard on wireless communications. Do you know what are those? The 802.11a for 5.8 GHz band and 802.11b for 2.4 GHz band. This technology was soon named as Wi-Fi. It was during 1999. By the year 2000, you have the 2001, Apple introduced the iPad, so a breakthrough MP3 music player that packs up to 1,000 CD quality songs into an ultra portable 6.5 ounce design that fits your pocket. That was in 2001. 2008, Google and T-Mobile unveiled the T-Mobile G1, the first phone to use Google's Android operating system. That was in 2008. And in 2007, Hitachi announced the first 1 terabyte hard drive. That was in 2007. For 2010 up to present, whatever new technology that was invented during this time is an emerging technology today. So that will be your assignment. You identify at least 5 emerging technologies in the last 5 to 10 years and identify which of those will have an impact on our economy and society in the future. So that's it for this lecture. If you have any questions, clarifications, just write down on the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Char.